Hello Art Beaters, Becky here for artbeats.com, and I've got a brand new video for you today. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a 2-hole ginkgo leaf bead bracelet. This is a Starman TrendSetter's pattern called Dream of the Queen, designed by Zsuzsanna Erdei, and it's so beautiful. All you need are ginkgo beads in 2 colors and some Toho seed beads and some tiara cast stitch-in links, as well as beading needles and thread. So let's dive in on how to make the Dream of the Queen bracelet. It's called the Dream of the Queen bracelet, and it is designed by Starman TrendSetter Zsuzsanna Erdei. What a beautiful name. I love that name so much. And it's gorgeous. And so we've got this great PDF diagram for how to make it. I've linked to it in the video description. It's got wonderful diagrams to show you exactly how to make it, as well as step-by-step instructions. So that's super helpful. That's what I used here today to help me make this cool piece. I'm going to kind of zoom in on this board here so you can see it even better. Get my lighting all set up. So this is what it's going to look like. I stitched up one that's almost done here. I just have to finish a couple more rows and add the edging so you can kind of see what that's going to look like. All you need to make this project are ginkgo beads, 2-hole ginkgo leaf beads. I've got 2 different colors here. That's what the original pattern calls for. You could certainly do this in just 1 color all the way across, 3 colors, 4 colors. You could really switch it up. Maybe even do like a random assortment of colors for each ginkgo bead. There's a lot of ways you could take this, but I do like that second color showcased in the center. And I've got some really fun fall colors. This is a Bondelli finish cocoa. It's this nice soft matte color. Oh, I think this is so trendy. They do look like they're made out of cocoa, like for real. It looks like you could eat them. I wouldn't recommend it, but they do just look scrumptious and perfect for fall. And then I've got this lovely kind of marbled copper and black color. Super pretty. I love that. In addition to the ginkgo beads, you will also need 11/0 round seed beads. I've got some Toho 11/0 rounds here in a nice bronze color that looks really nice with these ginkgo beads. You'll also need some tiara cast stitch-in links. I've got them in a copper finish here. We have silver and gold as well. And we have a couple different styles of tiara cast stitch-in links. I like this one because it's a little different on each side. And it looks really nice with the shape of the ginkgos. As well as those items, you will need some Toho 1G thread, any kind of beading thread that you like to work with for bead weaving. I've got 1G here today. I'm using a darker color so you can see it better on camera. This color also matches the beads that I'm using nicely. You'll also need a beading needle. I've got size 12. It's my go-to size. So that is everything that you'll need to do this project. So I've got this piece kind of started here, but I am going to show you how to get this project started. It's super simple. We're going to start with the stitch-in link here. So I'm going to cut my thread, and you'll want, for a full bracelet, you'll want about 2 yards of thread in length. So I'm going to get that off my spool here. So I just kind of do like 2 arm spans for 2 yards. A yard is 3 feet, so you want like 5 to 6 feet. If you want to work with shorter, just know that you'll probably have to like tie off, knot, and weave in extra thread. But that's certainly a possibility. So I'm going to add my thread to my needle. There we go. I'm getting really good at adding my thread to my needle. Oh, I just love these colors together. I want to wear it with a cozy fall sweater. So what you're going to do to start is you're going to bring that needle through the first loop of the stitch-in link. And you're going to leave a 4 to 6 inch tail. So I've got my tail. And then from there, you're going to add 4 seed beads. Now let's see if I can pick these up. From there, we'll put it over here. 1. For some reason, I'm having trouble with these seed beads today. They don't want to jump onto my needle. They're tired. They must be tired. All right, so I've got 4 seed beads, and then I'm going to go through that second loop on the stitch in link and pull my thread tight, but making sure that I keep the tail. All right, now we're ready to add a ginkgo bead. I'm going to start with my cocoa color. I love this color so much. And you're going to want to pay attention which direction you add them. So this is considered the top, and then this is considered the bottom. The pointed part is the bottom. So you're going to want to add it from the bottom up. So it is important the direction you add your ginkgo beads, and a lot of the times I will lay my project flat on my beading mat just so I can keep track of how I'm adding those beads. Then you're going to want to add, I have to keep these down here, I'll never get them on my needle, 3 seed beads. 1, 2, 3. And then you're coming out of that top stringing hole, you're just going to jump over to the next stringing hole, making a little bridge with those seed beads at the top of your ginkgo. And you see, you might want to use a bead stopper here for your tail. This will get tied, so it won't matter too much in a second here, but when you're first starting, a bead stopper might be nice. All right, then we're going to add another seed bead. Then we're adding a ginkgo bead from the bottom to the top. So in the opposite direction of the first one we added. Add another seed bead, and then add a cocoa ginkgo bead from the top to bottom. And thank you to my stars senders, so sweet of you. I'm gonna add another seed bead, and then our final ginkgo bead for this round from the bottom to the top. So you're kind of alternating the direction you're adding these ginkgo beads. Then you're going to add 3 seed beads. I've got 3 on my needle. And then I'm coming out of that first stringing hole on this ginkgo bead. You're going to want to jump to the second stringing hole. So you can see I've kind of created a loop here, and now I'm back at the start of where I started, where my tail is. What you want to do here is you want to tie the tail to your working thread and knot it. So that's just going to complete the loop and secure your tail in place as well. And cinch up all those beads. I'm going to make a knot as well. There we go. Now you need to bring your working thread in place. You need to position it to start your next round of ginkgos. So you're back at the start here. You're going to go back through the loop of the stitch in link, those 4 seed beads, and the second loop. You're going to go up through that first stringing hole of the next ginkgo bead in place and through those 3 seed beads. Going to go down through the second stringing hole and through the next seed bead. go through that first stringing hole of the next ginkgo bead. And from here, you're not going to go down through the next seed bead. You're actually going to jump over to the second stringing hole of this same ginkgo bead. And then you're in place to start your next little loop of ginkgo beads. So to keep adding loops to your bracelet, it's the same technique over and over. So I'm actually going to show you how to do that on this piece that we're going to be finishing up, because you're just repeating the same technique over and over to make the loops of your bracelet. So let's get this piece out of the way. But I just wanted to show you how to start the bracelet, because you do start with the stitch in link. So to add the next round of ginkgo beads, this is the same technique as when you're starting. So keep that in mind. And again, we've got this great PDF diagram that walks you through every step. What you're going to do here, you're going to add a seed bead. And it's very similar to how you started the bracelet. You're going to add a ginkgo bead from the bottom to the top, like so. Always get my thread when they're long like this, they always get looped around like my trays, my cutters, whatever's around. So it's a little bit of a puzzle to keep it from catching on things. So you've added that seed bead, ginkgo bead, you're going to add another segment of 3 seed beads and come back down through that second stringing hole on the same ginkgo. There we go. We're going to add a seed bead and another ginkgo, this time from the bottom to the top. I just love this cocoa color. It's just so delicious looking, so rich, and I love the matte finish. I think that's super trendy. All right, so we're going to add another seed bead. And then we're going to add another ginkgo from the top to the bottom. Add another seed bead, add another ginkgo from the bottom to the top. Then add 3 seed beads. We've got 3 on our needle. We're coming out of that first stringing hole of the bottom ginkgo. We're going to go through the second stringing hole of the same ginkgo. And so now you're kind of connecting this loop. So what you're going to do here is you're going to add a seed bead and go through the second stringing hole of the ginkgo bead already in place. Add another seed bead. You can see your thread is between these 2 ginkgos. I'll bring it a little closer here. Just going to go through the open stringing hole of the ginkgo bead above. And that finishes out your loop. So then what you're going to do to get your thread in place for the next loop, you're going to kind of do the same thing that you did to get your thread in place for this first loop. So you're going to come through that seed bead that's already in place. I'm trying to do this as gracefully as I can. There we go. Come back up through that ginkgo bead there. Go through all of these 3 seed beads here. down through that second stringing hole of the Ginkgo bead. Down through that next seed bead, and then the stringing hole of the next Ginkgo bead. And you don't want to go down through the seed bead below that one because you're going to jump over to the second stringing hole of this Ginkgo bead. And I need to make sure that my thread isn't going to knot there, so pull that out. So now I'm coming out of the bottom of this Ginkgo bead. I'm going to jump up to this stringing hole, and then we're in place to add the next round of Ginkgo beads. So that's what you do for the length of the bracelet. Now when you want to change colors, so let's say that was our first round. So this was our first round of Ginkgo beads. You're going to add a second round, and then for this round, for the first Ginkgo bead you're adding a cocoa bead. The next two are going to be this coppery color, and then the next bead in this round is the cocoa color. Then you're going to come through all of these, jump up. So for these next rounds, they're all that copper color. And then once you have all these rounds done, you switch back to the cocoa color. So the only tricky part is this round here where you have to add two of the copper color along with the cocoa color. But the rest are just all of the same color. So I need to add, I think I only need to do one more round on this piece before I add my stitch in link on the other side, and then I can show you how to add that stitch in link on the end, which is a lot of the same techniques that we did at the start. And then I can show you how to do the edging, because if you notice here, there's more seed beads on the edge, and I can show you how to do that after we finish up this row. And that's going to kind of reinforce your bracelet even more. But don't you just love these colors? I think they're perfect for fall. You know, if you have any more questions, love seeing your comments, or if you have any suggestions for something in the future. So let's make one more round of these Ginkgo beads, and then we will add our stitch in link to the end and then work on the edging. So we've added a seed bead, we need to add a Ginkgo. So again, the technique is the same for every round of Ginkgo beads in this bracelet. You just might be switching up the colors at some point if you're using more than one color. You can certainly just go for all one color. I think just a solid bracelet with that cocoa color or with the copper color would be really cool looking all on its own. Added 3 seed beads going through that second stringing hole of the cocoa bead. Add another seed bead. Add a Ginkgo bead from the bottom to the top. Seed bead. Add a seed bead, add a Ginkgo from the, did I add my seed bead here? Yes, I did. And then add a Ginkgo from the top to the bottom. Once that Ginkgo's in place, we're going to add another seed bead and then add a Ginkgo from the bottom to the top. Add 3 seed beads. 1, 2, 3. I've got a seed bead here, and then I'm going to come through that open stringing hole of the Ginkgo already in place. add another seed bead and go through that open stringing hole of the ginkgo bead already in place. So now we're in a spot where we can add our last round of ginkgo beads, which will also include the stitch-in link for the other side of our bracelet. So let's get this thread in place to start the next round. So we're gonna come through, back up through that seed bead here. And I don't want to form a knot with my thread, so I need to get that out of the way as I pull my needle. Come up through that ginkgo bead. Back through all those 3 seed beads. So pretty. I love these colors together. They make me think of like pumpkin spice lattes or something. Oh, those should be coming out soon again. That sounds good. Maybe an iced one because it's still pretty hot here. Coming back through that ginkgo bead on the other side of the loop and then jumping up to this stringing hole, this second stringing hole on that same ginkgo bead. All right, final round. And this is a fairly quick project for bead weaving. I kind of stitched this up like 30 minutes before I went live. So this is a really quick project for something that looks super intricate. All right, so this is our final round that includes the stitch-in link. We're adding a seed bead and my thread came off of my needle. That is a constant problem for me. I'm pretty forceful with my needle pulling, I guess. When I do cross stitching, usually you're working with 2 strands of the embroidery floss. What I do for that is I fold one strand in half and then bring the needle through the fold so it's secured. The thread can't come off the needle. And so I think that's gotten me used to not worrying about like the tail end of my thread coming off my needle. So sometimes it trips me up. All right, so we've added a seed bead. We're gonna add a ginkgo bead from the bottom to the top. Then we're going to add 3 seed beads like we've been doing. 1, 2, 3. Come down through that second stringing hole. Now here's where we're going to add our stitch-in link. And I want to make sure that because this one has a different design on each side, I want to make sure that my designs are the same, facing the same way. So I'm going to add that first loop of this stitch-in link, and that's why laying everything kind of in place on your mat is helpful, because it really helps you see like what orientation you're doing. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 seed beads and come through that second loop on the stitch-in link. Hello, Gwen from Florida. Good to see you. Making a cute little ginkgo bead bracelet today. All right, and then we are going to add a ginkgo bead from the bottom to the top. Whoops. It's the trouble with getting the camera close enough is I have to also pay attention to not hit it. So many things you have to keep in mind. All right, then we've got that ginkgo bead in place. We're going to add 1, 2, 3 seed beads. I've got 2 on my needle and I've got 3. Come back up through that second stringing hole. And then we just got to complete this loop. So add a seed bead, come up through here, Don't catch any beads while you're doing that. Add another seed bead. Whoa! And then come up through that next open stringing hole on that ginkgo bead above. If I can find it. There we go. Okay, so we've got all of our beads added. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come through all of these beads until we're coming out of that little bridge of 3 seed beads on the bottom, and then we'll be in a good place to add our edging. So we go back through these beads. I just love these cocoa ginkgos. The Bondelli finish is so nice. And I believe we have other colors in the Bondelli finish. We have like a nice coral peach color that's great for summer. That would be a good one for fall too if you paired it with like coppers and browns and earth tones. Love the Bondelli finish, but I love this marbled finish too. And I think those together, they're really chic, like really elegant look here. And super wearable. These are like super neutral colors that are gonna look good with a lot of fall pieces in your wardrobe. All right, so I've gone through all 3 of those seed beads at the bottom of my bracelet. So now we're in place here. Look at that, so pretty. Now we're in place to add our edging. So what we're gonna do here is we're going to add 5 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure that extra one's off. And then from here, we're going to kind of make a loop here. So what we're doing is we're going to come through this seed bead here at the bottom of this ginkgo, the left-hand side of it. So you're kind of crossing over to the other side of that ginkgo. And then you're going to come up through the ginkgo. It looks like railroad tracks, a little bit, or like stepping stones. So you come up through the ginkgo, then you're going to come back down through the second stringing hole and back down through the seed bead on this side. From here, you're going to add 2 seed beads. And then you want to loop through that center seed bead that you added from the 5. So the 3rd seed bead of the 5 that you added. So can you see I've added 2 seed beads to my thread, and then I'm crossing or looping through that 3rd seed bead of the 5 I just added. And that's going to put you in place to continue on to the length of the bracelet. So you're doing a little bit of some loopies. All right, so we've got those in place. Then we're going to add 2 more seed beads. And then come through these 3 seed beads here on this next ginkgo bead over. And then you just repeat that for the length of the bracelet. And that's going to add a nice edging to your bracelet, give some structure between these ginkgo beads. Oh, that's so pretty. I love that seed bead color. So we're going to do that again. We're going to add 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to kind of cross over and come up through this seed bead over here. And go up through that ginkgo bead. Jump down to the second stringing hole. Go through this seed bead on this side. Add 2 seed beads. And then you're going to want to come through that third seed bead of the 5 you added to make a loopy. Then you add 2 seed beads and come through the next 3 seed beads over. So you're just doing that for the length of your bracelet. And it gives a really, oh, that's beautiful. It gives a really nice look to the edge of your piece. It's gonna shore everything up, strengthen everything up. It's really nice. Oh my gosh, let's keep going with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've added 5 seed beads. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this design too. It's really pretty, really intricate looking, but super fast. I said I worked on this 30 minutes before. We're coming up on 30 minutes during the live. You could do this in a couple hours, I think. So we're jumping over to this seed bead and ginkgo to start our little loopy. Jump down through this stringing hole. And then jump through the seed bead below it as well. Add 2 seed beads and do a loop through the third seed bead added of the 5. Add 2 more seed beads and come through these 3 seed beads in the next ginkgo over. There we go. Look at that. Oh, this is gonna be so pretty. It really is a dream of the queen, as it's named. So let's see what it looks like when we get to this wonderful little marbled copper section. So let's add 5 seed beads to our thread. Now we're going to jump up to this seed bead and ginkgo. Going to jump down to that second stringing hole on the same ginkgo. If I can find it, there we go. Make sure I'm not catching anything. Also come down through that adjoining seed bead. Add 2 seed beads to the thread, and then make a loop through the third seed bead added of those first 5 seed beads you added. Add 2 more seed beads. And go through the next 3 on the next ginkgo over. Oh, this is so pretty. I love it. Gorgeous. Oh my gosh, these colors for fall. They look caramelly, coffee. So good. Let's do one more, and then you would just have to do it on the other side of the bracelet as well. So once you reached the end, what you would do is you would just go through these 3 seed beads and then come up through here, until you're coming out of that last seed bead up here, and do the same on this end. So this will also go by really fast. I've got 4 seed beads on my thread. 5, we're gonna come up through this seed bead over here. Hardest part is catching them, right? And then go through that adjoining ginkgo bead as well. This is a really great ginkgo bead pattern. It's a fun weave, it's quick, and then the results are absolutely stunning. So I've added the 2, I've come through, looped through that 3rd seed bead of the 5. We're gonna add 2 more seed beads and then come through the next 3 seed beads on the next ginkgo over. What a pretty piece this is. I've got the colors that I'm using here linked as well if you want to use these exact colors, but we do have lots of great colors to choose from. So that's going to be, look at how nice that looks. Just adding those seed beads between really gives the bracelet a complete feel. That's beautiful. And then you've still got that fun kind of open design in the center. So all I have to do now is continue that edging all the way around. When I get here to this end seed bead here, I'm just going to come up through all of these beads until I'm coming out of that 3rd seed bead at the top, and then I'm going to do the rest of the edging. And then from there, I just have to weave my threads back in, knot them, secure them, trim them, and I've got a bracelet that's I just need to add a clasp really. And what's great about this, my bracelet is going to be the perfect length for just adding a clasp. If you're coming up short in length, with these clasps, you can add like a little extender chain or a couple jump rings to add some length. So that's really nice too. You could even make it just a little short section in the center and do the rest chain if that's a design you'd like to explore. This is a really fun look. It weaves up super fast. I've done this much in less than an hour. So really great. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful and inspiring. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Leave a like and a comment. And as always, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell so you're notified every time that we have a new video like this one. Thank you guys so much again for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.